Welcome to Bristol Motor Speedway for the next round in the Saskatchewan Stock Car Racing Championship. We have been going at it week after week, and last time we were in Martinsville, and Martinsville was won by Ray Murnau in front of McGregor and Kevin Dick. And that brings us to the series standings. They are as follows. It's Thomas McGregor leading with 247 points in front of Kevin Dick with 238. Then it's Jeremy Brooks with 235, Ray Murnau 231, Kelly Admiral has 200 points, and then Rob Naismith is in sixth with 195, Carson Nagy in seventh with 188. Eighth place is Matthew Shirley with 184. Then it's Kyle Steckley with 169 in the ninth position. And 10th is Brent Just with 161 points. So the battle for the championship is still very much wide open at the top there. Thomas McGregor, Kevin Dick, Jeremy Brooks, Ray Murnau all still have good chances of clinging that championship. And let's take a look at where we are today and what we're looking at for a race. We are at the Bristol Motor Speedway. The length of the track is a little bit over a half mile. And the current ambient temperature is 76 degrees. As you can tell, we are running under the lights here today. The relative humidity is 58%. It's a clear sky, and there is no wind to speak of. The track temperature is shown as 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is not extremely hot. We're running at night, so that might benefit the drivers. We're going to be doing 12 lap heats, and judging from the amount of drivers that have entered this race, we are looking probably at 2 heats. And then we're going to have a last chance qualifier, a consolation race of 20 laps. And both in the heats and the consolation race, the yellow laps will not count, so those laps will be green flag racing laps. And not so for the feature race. The 100 lap feature race, the yellows will count. And here is the tricky part for the drivers. 100 lap feature race, they do not get to change their tires, so they'll have to manage their rubber and make sure they can make it last for 100 laps. No tire changes. They have one fast repair. If they get damage, they can go to the pits and have their damage instantly repaired. That does not include tires and fuel. They're not going to need any fuel anyway. The fast repair only pertains to the damage on the car itself. So after that one fast repair, they're going to be on their own. They're going to be looking at dealing with their damages, taking pit stops to have it repaired, or just rolling along with it. All right, so the drivers have cars with fixed setups, which means that they cannot change anything on the suspension and stuff like that. The only thing they can change, if I'm not mistaken, that is true for this car as well, is the brake bias, and the brake bias divides the power of the brake between the front wheels and the rear wheels. Some drivers like to put the brake bias a little bit further to the back to help the car rotate in if they slightly touch the brakes. Not everybody does it, especially not on these high banked ovals, but some drivers do that, use that technique to get the car to rotate in. So what more can we say about the Bristol Motor Speedway? The track is made of concrete. That is not a surface that many drivers like because it's not as grippy as asphalt, and it takes a little bit more effort to rubber it in. So a concrete track is not always the driver's favorite. The banking on this track is anywhere between 24 and 30 degree banking. In the middle of the turns, it's 30 degrees, and on the straight parts, it's 24 degrees. So that's quite high banking for a short track like this. All right, we're going to go into qualifying as we speak right now. Practice has been finished, and we're going to see some qualifying here. The drivers will not be able to see each other. They get 3 laps, the best of 3. That's been done to give them a little bit more chance to get those some heat in the tires when they get out of the pits. And best of three will count for the qualifying order. So they cannot see each other. We can pick up anybody that's out there on the track, which is currently still nobody. And what else can we tell you about this track? The pit entry. There, I'm not sure if there's enough drivers to use both pit lanes. There's a pit lane between on the main straight and then on the backstretch, but the pit lane entry will be at turn two, so the drivers will have to go entirely around the track on the apron before they get to their pits. Then the pit exit will be on turn one. So regardless of where your pit stall is, the pit entry will be on turn two, and the exit will be on turn one, which makes for a long pit lane with low speeds. All right, for some reason I am not seeing anybody. Let me see what's going on here. Well, we got scoring back to work, but we don't have any cameras.
Mark, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I'm having some major troubles here. I can't see my to get my cameras to work.
I know I was watching the broadcast. I'm having the same thing. I just wondered if it's an admin thing here. If it'll end up kicking once we get to qualifying or once we get to heats or what.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's it. This is the first time I had to log in as a driver. I made a mistake logging in the first time, and once I do that, they won't let me get in there as a spectator.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was just gonna say I'm having the same thing, so it must be just something going on in the server. Hopefully it all works out.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, folks, we have a little bit of a hiccup here. Unfortunately, I was not able to get into the race as what they call spectator mode. I am in there as a driver, and because of that, I probably cannot check on the other drivers because iRacing is expecting me to qualify as well. So bear with me here. Qualifying is not going to be very long, and only half a minute left, and it should sort itself out when we go back to racing. It currently looks like Rob Naismith is qualified with the fastest time in front of Kevin Dick, and Brandon Feeney is in third. Jordan Dalsgaard is in fourth, and fifth is Kyle Steckley. Thomas McGregor 6th, Brendan Forsyth 7th, 8th is Kelly Admiral, and 9th is Colton Evernham. And on the 10th spot, we have Jeremy Brooks. All right, qualifying is over, so let's see if we can do better now and see if we can get some cameras to work. Let me see here. There we go. All right, so we're going to start with heat number 1 with Rob Naismith on the pole position. Alongside him will be Brendan Feeney. Then on the second row, it'll be Kyle Steckley and Brendan Forsyth. On the third row, it's going to be Colton Evernham and Sam Howlett. On the fourth row, it'll be Ray Murnau and Brent Just. Fifth row, it'll be Patrick Schurmans and David Rockwood. And Jordan Berry will not be taking the start. He is the race admin, and he did the same thing I did, which is getting into the session as a driver, which now we know we should never do. Learned something again today. So, first heat is going to get on its way here shortly if everybody is on the grid. And it looks like it's going to wait for Jordan Berry to get on the grid. And I believe David Rockwood wasn't on there either. Now he is. So, Naismith in the 71 car, Brendan Feeney. And second row for the 24 and the 28, that's Steckley and Forsyth. Then the third row, Evernham and Howlett. Ray Murnau in the 03 there, with Brent Just alongside him, and Patrick Schurmans in the 27. And the 90 is David Rockwood. I'm fairly sure we're going to do 2 warm-up laps here on a short oval like this. And we're waiting for the pace car to get moving. Like I said, the iRacing is waiting for that 11th spot to be filled, and that's not going to happen. Jordan is our race director, keeping an eye on how the guys are behaving tonight. A 12-lap heat, as I said, the yellow laps will not count in these heat races, and there we go. As you can tell, the transition from the apron to the track is quite steep here in the turns, and during practice I've noticed several drivers getting into trouble when they're very low and they get 2 wheels on that apron. There really is no line, it's just a difference in surface. When they get 2 wheels behind that or below that track and on the apron, like you see the 71 doing here a little bit, it gets them in trouble. It definitely upsets the car, and it has a tendency to throw the back end around, and so they're going to have to be a little bit careful with that. The high side is also going to be a little bit tricky probably in these turns. Even though the banking is fairly high, it doesn't get rubbered in very easily on that top side, so I'm going to be a little bit looking for people to try that low line, maybe that middle line, but I don't expect people to be high up all that much. A very short and tight track here. It catches out a lot of people by surprise. It's always extremely close racing here. So we're anxious to see what the guys are going to do for us tonight. The pace car has gone in. They're waiting for the call. It's Rob Naismith, and he is looking like he has got the lead going into turn 1 with the 24 of Kyle Steckley right behind him. Brendan Feeney already looking out a little bit on that higher side. Kyle Steckley going for that inside on the 71, but thinking the better of it right now. He kind of forces the 71 up high, and back there in the rear we have some issues going on. It looks like let me see that. David Rockwood. No, it's the 38 of Brandon Feeney getting together there with the 28. Let's bring that back for you really quickly here. It's actually the 90 of... No, it's not the 90. Which car was that? Was it Sam Howlett? Nope. That actually was the 90, I believe. Let's bring that back here for you. Yeah, the 90 gets into him, but it's the 96 of Howlett that it contributes to the problem here. Oh, it's the 48 probably. Let me see here. Yes, it's the 48 that pushes the 38 up, and then there's not enough room for the 38 to come down. He goes around, and then the 90 is the one that runs into him. And unfortunately, it looks like Colton Evernham has got some damage from that incident as well. He is in the back of the pack right now. Oh, the car doesn't look too bad. And Brian Feeney is also in the tail end of the field. It was David Rockwood that couldn't avoid running into that 38. He's got some damage on the front end. Sherman's looks to be okay. So Rob Naismith is still hanging on to that lead here. Kyle Stackley in the second position. He was already charging hard. And don't be fooled by your scrolling on this on your screen there. That's because the yellow laps do not count. And let's go back through the field here. Brendan Forsyth in the 28. Sam Howlett in the 69, already up to the 4th position. And let's see. We have Ray Murnau in the number 3 car here in 5th. Then it's Brent Just in 6th. Patrick Sherman's in 7th. And then Rockwood, Feeney, Evernham. So as we saw already, it looks like that high side's not really working just yet. It may get a little bit better once we progress through the evening here, and it might get rubbered in a little bit more. Obviously, between the heats, the consolation race, and then the feature race, we'll have a short warm-up practice as well, so that may help the drivers to lay down a little bit more rubber here. Kyle Stackley in the 2nd position in the 24, and it looked to me like he was pretty eager to get this to get to the front there. Couldn't quite make it just yet. Let's check again. Nobody has been in the pits. Brandon Feeney stayed out there. Colton Evernham stayed out there. David Rockwood with the damage on the front. Heat race is too short probably for them to see any advantage of going into the pits unless it's repaired really quickly and you can stay on the lead lap. Then it might be worth your while, but other than that, there is just no point in getting into the pits. The number 16 car here of Brent Just in the middle of the pack here at 5th position. We're lined up side by side. That means we're getting ready to go back to racing. Rob Naismith still in front. Kyle Stackley on his outside. There, the truck is going down, and it's up to Rob now to get this show back on the road. Here we go, and it looks like Kyle Stackley is very eager to go with him right away. Stackley on that high side. Keeps that nose alongside for now. Can he stay alongside on the backstretch? He sure can, and then we go into 3 and 4. And it looks like Stackley has proven me wrong a little bit on working that high side because he gets it pretty good. Now it looks like Naismith is inching ahead of him. Oh, we have another yellow. I can't hear the radio, so let's see what ooh, and unfortunately, once again, it is the 38 that gets in trouble here. Let me see where he went. And let's go check back with the replay here what is going on. We're talking restart here. The 38. Oh, it looks like he was trying to get alongside Patrick Sherman's there, and Patrick Sherman was not aware of him being there already. He gets a little tap on the nose and goes around. He's still running, and he's now in 10th position, so he basically only lost one. Let's take a look at Sherman's here. It doesn't look like he has any damage on that car from that incident. Maybe a slight little bit of sheet metal damage on the left rear. I don't even think he has that. And then Rockwood, we know his nose is a little bit bent up. Colton Evernham just picks up one position because of this incident. And untouched at the front here still is Rob Naismith. Kyle Stackley right alongside him. And then it's Brendan Forsyth hanging on to that third spot here in the 28 car. It's Ray Murnau in the 03, Sam Howlett in the 69, and that looks like a very famous movie car, I would say. 16 of Brent Just. Then it's David Rockwood, Colton Avernham, Brandon Feeney, and it looks like Sherman's has been pushed to the back by race control, I would think, because I see no other reason for him to be there. Nobody went into the pits, so maybe he got blamed for causing this yellow. They do have a three-strike rule in this series. If you cause the yellow the first time, you're going to go back to the longest line. That's what's happening to the 27 here. And, oops. And if you cause another one, you once again get brought back to the rear end. And if you cause a third caution, you get parked. So they're not letting people get away with bad driving. Rob Naismith still in front, and we're getting ready to go back. No, not quite. The lights are still on, so they should be going out as we pass the flag stand right here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are out. I can't see them. But the guys are lining them up side by side, and that's indication plenty. Yeah, the lights are definitely out. And obviously the guys in the back there, the 38, yeah, that looks like the 27 did get that penalty to go to the end of the longest line because he is not allowed to come alongside to Brendan Feeney. And the truck will be going in here. There we go. And this 71 is early on the gas, trying to get a little jump on the field here. Going into turn one, it looks like Kyle Steckley is not as close as he was last time. He's just going to have to slot in there. There he goes. Ooh, and he dives to the inside. Bold move. And he's got that lower line. He forces the 71 to stay high. The 03 of Ray Murnau is already up there in third position, challenging Kyle Steckley for that second spot now. Oh, and the leader goes around. The leader goes around. Let me bring that back for you. The 71, where'd you go? Rob Naismith. He goes around. And let me see if we can figure out if he did get these wheels down below that, on that dark surface. No, he didn't. He just got loose on the entry of the turn, swings it around, and the guys behind him have a really hard time getting around all this. And that means that we have people in all sorts of trouble. Let's bring that back for you here. The 16 was involved there. That's Brent Just. And they see what's happening there in front of them. They try to get around. Oh, the 69 is actually causing part of that problem, it looks like, by himself. That's not the 69. That was the 90 of Rockwood, I believe. Let's bring that back one more time. Ooh, there's a little bit of pushing and shoving going on back here. Yes, it's him that causes the problem behind the 71 that's already gone off. So a bit of a double incident there. Two separate incidents, really. Well, that is good news for Kyle Steckley. He is now in front, but we could see Ray Murnau already challenging Steckley very, very aggressively, and it looked like he was running pretty strong there, bringing it up to third place pretty much instantly, and looking very strong to attack Kyle Steckley as well. So we're looking at a fight for the lead here in the second half of this heat race. So the 28 of Brendan Forsyth lost a spot to Murnau, and he's in third. Excuse me. And then Colton Evernham in the 48 is in fourth. Brandon Feeney, despite all the mess he's had to go through, is now in fifth. Naismith has dropped back to sixth. Rockwood is in seventh. Shermans is in eighth. And it looks like Howlett and Just have gone to the pits. And it wouldn't surprise me if they will not be coming back out for this heat race. So far, it is Ray Murnau that actually ran the quickest lap in the race so far, and I do believe he's the only one that has gotten a lap time underneath the 18-second mark. It's a 17.9, and the second best lap time is from Colton Evernham, and that's an 18.03. So that tells us that Ray Murnau's got a good car. He knows where to find the grip. He's aggressive. He wants that victory here. Having a little fun with the pace car. And I do believe that Kyle is opting to start on the outside, and that's kind of surprising. It looks like Kyle is kind of proving me wrong about that high side here. He looks pretty strong, but as strong as Murnau was coming at him in that last short green stint that we had, I would think twice before going to the outside. But of course, I'm not Kyle Steckley. I'm not the one driving these cars. They know what they're doing, so I'm fairly sure he's got his reasons. He may feel pretty comfortable up there. All right, and he's quick on the gas. Once the pace car pulls in, he puts it right in front of the other guys. It looks like Ray Murnau is a little bit off guard here. Colton Evernham picks up second position from him, and then Brendan Forsyth stays in fourth, and Brandon Feeney hangs on to the fifth spot. Let's check on your leader here. Kyle Steckley is now coming under pressure from Colton Evernham. Colton was also one of the quicker guys. He has actually now run the quickest laps, but he loses it, and he runs into the wall, and that allows Ray Murnau to get past him, and luckily he saves it from going around, but he definitely lost some time there. And it looks like Brandon Feeney and Sam Howlett are going at it for fifth position here, with Brandon on the lower side and David Rockwood. That's Sam Howlett. I apologize. The 69, and he gets around Feeney also on that higher side. So maybe I am mistaken about that higher side here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle Steckley, meanwhile, is solidly in front now. It looks like Ray Murnau is hanging on to that second spot in front of Colton Evernham. Colton has has regained his pace here after that mistake. It looks like he's a little bit wiggly, and that could tell you that there's something wrong with his steering or his suspension, but he's still hanging in there. So good for him. Brendan Forsyth here in the fourth spot in the 28. He's kind of by himself now, and it looks like Howlett is gaining on him. Rockwood has also passed Brendan Feeney, so Brendan Feeney might have damage that hurts him more than we expected. Brent just has gone by, and I'm fairly sure that Rob Naismith is going to do the same pretty soon. So yeah, it looks like the 38 of Brendan Feeney is in trouble. Meanwhile, at the front, we have a side-by-side battle now between Kyle Steckley and Ray Murnau. Ray Murnau on the inside, and it looks like Colton Evernham is trying that high side, but that doesn't seem to work for him. And that's because we have already passed the finish line. Sometimes when you get caught up in the race, the heats go so fast you can't keep up. So let's bring up the results for the first heat really quickly. There you have him. Steckley, Murnau, Evernham, Forsyth, Howlett, Rockwood, Just, Feeney, Naismith, Patrick Shermans in the final position. And that brings us to the grid for the second heat. And that has Kevin Dick on the pole position. And Jordan Dalsgaard is on alongside him on the second row. Then it's Thomas McGregor and Kelly Admiral. On the third row, it's Jeremy Brooks and Ernie Ludwig. Then on the fourth row, it's Tom Queering and Neil Schneider. And on the final row, it is Carson Nagy, and I am not there. I am here. So 9 cars in the second heat. Guys are getting ready to go. And we're rolling. It's Kevin Dick in the first position here in the number 10 car. Nice paint job. And it looks like Dalsgaard into 17. I think that paint job has changed a little bit too since last time we were running street stocks. Not sure. But I do believe he didn't have that sponsorship on there. Anyway, we have Thomas McGregor into 75. That looks pretty familiar. Same as Kelly Admiral in the purple car. Ernie Ludwig into 53. Jeremy Brooks into 26. I'm sorry, the 46 of Tom Queering. Neil Schneider in the 93 and Carson Nagy in the 093. And the waving back and forth to get some heat in the tires here on that concrete surface. It's not easy to warm your tires up. It's a lot more slippery than asphalt. It depends obviously a little bit on the type of asphalt. That not all asphalt's the same, not all concrete's the same, but generally speaking, concrete's a little bit more slippery than asphalt. 30-degree banking obviously helps them a lot, and that's why the speeds are fairly high for a short oval like this. There we go, waiting for the call. There we are racing. Kevin Dick hits the gas, and he already gets a good jump on Jordan Dalsgaard. Thomas McGregor already slips on the inside. So does Jeremy Brooks, and Dalsgaard drops back to 4th position. McGregor already challenging Kevin Dick for the lead on the lower side here. But once again, Kevin Dick also proves to me that I was not completely right about that high side. He makes that high side work for him pretty good. And in 5th position, we have the purple car of Kelly Admiral. Looks like he almost touched the wall there. Tom Queering is in 6th. Carson Nagy is now in the 7th spot. Ooh, and the 26 there gets a little bit loose off the turn. He gets passed by the 93 of Neil Schneider in the back here. And meanwhile, up front, it's still Kevin Dick, Thomas McGregor, Jeremy Brooks, and Jordan Dalsgaard. Good string of cars. Everybody's got about the same distance between them, so it's still anybody's run here. Thomas McGregor looks like he's gaining a little bit on Kevin Dick now. Can he do anything here? No, he's not close enough yet. Kevin Dick seems to be in control. And it looks like Thomas McGregor is hanging with him pretty much at the exact same pace. And that same is true for Brooks here. Jordan Dalsgaard loses a couple of car lengths there. A little bit, not even a couple, just one. And then it's Kelly Admiral right behind him. Tom Queering is dropping back just a tad here. And Nagy is also a little bit further back. And then it's Ernie Ludwig that got that position back from the 93 once again. So the 93, Neil Schneider here hanging on to the tail end of that 26. Trying to get that spot back. And let's bring her back up front here because Thomas McGregor is right on the tail of Kevin Dick here. Lap 8 already. And it doesn't look like he's getting close enough to really make anything big happen. But he's close. And it looks like Kevin knows exactly what he's doing here. Let's take a look from his gearbox. That's the attacker, Thomas McGregor. That's right behind him. And that's how tight it looks here on the Bristol Motor Speedway. Jeremy Brooks kind of hidden behind him there. There we go. The 75 hanging with the 10 very, very nicely. They're going to get the 2-lap sign here when they pass the flag stand going into lap 11. Kevin Dick holding on to that lead. Thomas McGregor not able to really put pressure on him right now. It looks like Kelly Admiral is getting fairly close to the 17 here. And that is for the 4th position. They're getting the white flag as we speak. It's Kevin Dick still in the lead. In front of the 75 of Thomas McGregor, Jeremy Brooks, Jordan Dalsgaard has passed. No, Jordan Dalsgaard is staying in front of Kelly Admiral. And it looks like Kevin Dick is picking up that heat race win here in front of McGregor, Brooks, Dalsgaard, and Admiral. Heat number 2, the results for you here. Kevin Dick is the winner. Thomas McGregor, Brooks, Dalsgaard, Admiral, Queering, Nagy, Ludwig, Schneider, and I was not there. So let's go now to the grid for the consolation race. On the grid here, we have David Rockwood on the pole, and alongside him on the first row is Tom Queering. Then on the second row, it's Brent Just. And let's see if we can find these guys. There they are. Brent Just and Carson Nagy are on the second row. The third row is for Brandon Feeney, Ernie Ludwig. Then on the fourth row, it's Rob Naismith and Neil Schneider. And then on the final spot, it is Patrick Shermans. And once again, myself and Jordan Berry are not starting. And that means that we have a few moments to tick away because iRacing is going to wait for us. And the guys are eager to get going. I always like that. And there we go. David Rockwood in the first spot here. Thomas Queering in the 46 alongside. And now it's all about getting your last shot at a good spot for the feature race. The guys trying to warm up their tires once again. Trying to get a little heat in there. The 93 is the 093 of Nagy, fairly shortly on the tail end of that 46 there. And Ernie Ludwig should be the. Let me see. Ernie Ludwig should be coming down there, I believe. No, maybe not. It's Brent Just that should be in that bottom spot alongside the 093 here. Oh. The 46 really gets that tire warming stuff all wrong here. That is extremely unfortunate. Ooh, yeah. That's not a good way to go out. Let's bring her back up to the front here because I'm not sure if we're going to be going green now. I do believe he will get a chance to pick up his position, but he's shown as being in the pit. So not sure if he can start from the pit, but I hope for his sake that he can. There we go. We have a green flag. David Rockwood is going into turn 1 first. It looks like the 093 is getting it all wrong there on that outside line, and then the 93 and the 16 get together as well. Ooh, that is not a good start. You see the 093 gets it all wrong, saves it with a little help from the wall, and then further back it's the 93 of Neil Schneider that gets it all wrong. Let's bring that back once more. That here is the start. It looks like the 16 is slow off the line, and the 27 gets by the 38. And then the 93 gets it all wrong, and the other 93 gets it wrong, trying to avoid running into any trouble that might occur on his right side. And he swings it around, and luckily he can keep going, but that front end is fairly beat up. And then the 27 of Patrick Shermans is also gone round. And Tom Queering has actually come out of the pits, but I do believe that he is a lap behind. So that was not the prettiest of starts that we could imagine. And, warming your tires is one thing, but turning it around while doing so, that's a little embarrassing to say the least. So David Rockwood still holds on to that first spot here. Ooh, it looks like the 46 is actually getting a wave around. That's good news for him, because that means he gets to start on the lead lap. We have a 20-lap consolation race, so there's still a good chance for these guys to make up for lost time. It shows Ernie Ludwig in the second spot now, and it's Rob Naismith in the 71 in third. Brandon Feeney is in fourth. Let's see if we can find out how bad the 38 looks. The 38 looks pretty good. Then it is Neil Schneider in fifth with the front end a little bit dinged in. Shermans is hanging on there. Nagy is shown in seventh, and Queering is shown in eighth. And it looks like Brent Just is no longer running. One more pace lap. The lights on the pace truck are still on. So Tom Queering is not on the lead lap. He's actually 2 laps down from Carson Nagy and therefore the entire field. So he may have had the wave around and gotten 1 lap back, but not exactly what he had hoped for, I'm sure. Carson Nagy in front of him. Ernie Ludwig here in the 2nd spot. And the pace car lights should be going out. There we go. So we're going to line them up double file now and get back to racing. Rockwood and Ludwig in the front row there, and then then it's Naismith in the 71, and it's Brandon Feeney in the 38. Right alongside each other in the 2nd row, and the 93 of Schneider seems eager to go. The 27 of Sherman should be on his outside. Truck will be pulling in. And David's waiting a little bit and then hits the gas right here. And he comes towards turn 1 in the lead, fairly solid with Ludwig in 7th and the 71 on that lower side. The 38 stay into his outside. Brandon Feeney picks up that 3rd spot, looks like. 71 comes back underneath in the turn. And once again, Brandon Feeney got turned around there by the 093 of Carson Nagy, it looks like. Let's bring back what exactly happened. The 38 is on the high side here, alongside the 93 of Schneider, and then coming off the turn, it's not really clear if he comes down too much or not. Let's bring it back one more time. Not really. I think the 093 should have been able to see that coming. He does come down offline a little bit. They're still running though. That's the good news always. And it looks like it's not as free of damage as before. That left front looks like it's been bent up a little bit. It's not that bad, and we're not going fast enough for stuff like that to really make a difference as far as aerodynamics and airflow is concerned. So let's see how the order is here. It looks like the 90 of David Rockwood is still the leader in front of Ernie Ludwig in the 26 car, Rob Naismith in the 71, and then it's Neil Schneider in the 93, but he's behind Patrick Sherman's in the 27, it looks like. Yep. 27 of Sherman's is in 4th. Schneider is in 5th, Brendan Feeney 6th, Tom Queering is in 7th, and it looks like Tom Queering is back on the lead lap. So he may have had another wave around. Carson Nagy is shown in 8th, and Brent just is not in the race anymore. Let's bring you back up to the lead here. David Rockwood is looking pretty good in this race. So far, he has posted the best lap time of an 18:16. As opposed to a 18:25 of Ernie Ludwig, and with the yellows, that's pretty much the top 3 drivers that only posted lap times. And are the lights off? I do believe so, yes. And Ludwig is getting alongside. On the 2nd row, it's still Rob Naismith and Patrick Shermans. On the 3rd row, Feeney and Queering. No, I didn't say that correctly. It's Schneider and Feeney on the third row. It's Queering and Nagy on the fourth row. And that's all we've got. There we go. David Rockwood on the throttle pretty early. The 26 slots him behind him already. Good start for David Rockwood, and the 71 in that's Rob Naismith hanging with him there. Neil Schneider sticking that car around here closely to the 71, already getting underneath. No, not quite. And it looks like David Rockwood has got this under control for now. It looks like he's pulling away a little bit. Ludwig in second, 71 of Naismith is in third. And Schneider is hanging on there, and it looks like the 71 likes to come off that turn a little bit higher than the 93, and it kind of gives you the impression that the 93 is going to put that nose underneath there. Let's try. Ooh, the 71 hits the wall. Saw some sparks flying. Doesn't lose it though. Ooh, watch out for that apron, and you can tell it just gets you in trouble right away. The 27 of Patrick Shermans takes advantage and comes underneath. A little bit of a love tap there. A little bit of banging, door banging going on, and they keep it together though. Very good, very good. The 38 of Brandon Feeney underneath the 93 of Carson Nagy. The 46 catching up with these guys on the high side here. Ooh, there we go. Oh. It looked like the 93 of Schneider just lost it coming off the turn. And we're not getting a green or yellow just yet, but I'm expecting that to happen anytime soon. Let's take a look at what happened. He gets a little love tap here. That was earlier. Then he comes down a little bit too enthusiastically towards the 38, and he gets himself in trouble. We did not go yellow because he probably... Oh, we did go yellow. Didn't hear the... I can't hear the radio. Looks like the 93 is pretty heavily damaged on that front end now. He might still try to get back around and make something of this race. David Rockwood in the 16.47 as a fastest lap, and that's a pretty good lap time. And he looked pretty solid there in front. Ludwig is still behind him, and then it's Naismith. Shermans has worked his way up to 27. I'm sorry, that's the number 27. He worked his way up to fourth. To fifth, I should say. No, fourth. I get thrown off by that scrolling every once in a while myself. Carson Nagy is in the fifth position, and the reason Shermans is up there is because, who was it? The 93, he got a little bit below that on that apron, and it just gets you in trouble. And that Patrick Shermans could take advantage of that. And then it's Brandon Feeney in the 38 car in 6th. Tom Queering is now in 7th. It looks like Schneider is headed for pit lane. And like I said, that is a long ways to go because it's almost a full lap that you're spending on that apron at pit lane speed. So having to pit here is not good. Even under yellow, it can cost you way too much time. He does have a fast repair, it looks like. And he is using that, and it looks like that car is looking in tip-top shape now. Is he taking on fuel? Why would he be doing that? Maybe he just decides to call it a night for this consolation race. So let's bring you back up here. It looks like the lights of the pace truck are still on. Ooh, we are losing David Rockwood here every once in a while. That's a bad connection. And I wish I could tell you different, but I hope it's going to fix itself. Yeah, he's definitely in some sort of trouble. That's not good. And what... Schneider is shown in front because he's in the pit lane standing still. The laps don't count, then that throws off your scoring a little bit as well. And David Rockwood looks like that connection has sorted itself out. Ernie Ludwig is going to be on his outside. Then it's going to be Naismith and Shermans. It's going to be Carson Nagy and Brandon Feeney behind them. And then Tom Queering and Neil Schneider. And we're getting ready to go. The pit pace truck will be coming down low to pit lane. Oh, wrong turn. Half a lap to go. There we go. They're lining them up now. Nice and solid. Schneider here in the back end. He's back out running. Ooh, 26 has to be careful not to get ahead of the Rockwood before that call is made. Rockwood is taking the lead into turn one. It's Ludwig in second, Naismith hanging on to third. Shermans is already being challenged by Carson Nagy. Ooh, touching again. The 093 gets underneath the 27, but the 27's hanging on that higher side. I'm surprised that higher. Oh my gosh. The 27 comes down on the 093 there. I just don't see why that is happening. Let's see here. The 093 and the 27 side by side coming off the turn. He knows he's there. His spotter is calling it out, and then he comes down. Did he just spin the rear end? Did he lose the back end there? Get on the gas too early? That must have been it, because otherwise I just don't see him coming down like that. He knows fair and well that Nagy is there. Nagy upside down is shown as in the pits currently. He should be able to get that fast repair if he still has one. And let's take a look at Sherman's. Yeah, that looks pretty banged up as well. It looks like he's headed towards pit lane. And this is turn 1 and 2, so the entry to the pit lane is right here in turn 2. And you'll see the cones coming by this car here. There you have them. Those cones are the indication of the beginning of the pit speed limit, which means he pretty much has to do 3/4 of a lap or better under pit speed. And that takes a long time if you're sitting in there and you like pushing that right foot down. And there's no speed limiter or automatic limiters on these cars. You have to do this all by your own doing with your right foot. So it looks like the 27 has decided to just kind of call it a night here for this consolation race. He takes a tow to the rest of. Maybe he was unsure where his pit was and thought he missed it. I wouldn't be surprised, because I'll tell you one thing that very many drivers fail to practice is going into the pit, especially on tracks where you're not familiar with how that stuff works. You need to practice getting into the pit. No problems here in the front for David Rockwood. Looking pretty solid here. And it looks like Nagy is also gone to the pits. That looks to me like he doesn't really have a choice. So Nagy and Schneider now also in the pit. That's his second incident, so he doesn't have another fast repair. Sherman's, I'm not sure if he already used that fast repair, but he doesn't look like anything's happening here. We're on lap 11 of 20 of the consolation race. David Rockwood looking strong in the front here. Ernie Ludwig in the 26 car on his outside, been hanging on strong to that second position, and Rob Naismith a ditto for hanging on to third. Brandon Feeney now in the fourth spot, so staying out there and just keep doing what you're doing. That will bring you back up to the front in races like this. Tom Query now in the fifth spot, and it looks like he's the final running car. No, it looks like Nagy is coming back out. So he must have had that fast repair still, because that car looks pretty good. All right, ready to get back to action. And this time it looks like Rockwood waits a little bit, and when he goes, it looks like Ernie Ludwig was right there with him. He's on the high side, still alongside. He'll slot in right behind that 90 car now. Can he do anything in 3 and 4? No, he's not quite close enough. Rob Naismith is hanging on to that third position with Brandon Feeney putting pressure on him. And oh, it looked like Ludwig had a bit of a moment there, and he drops back to third now. Not really sure. I missed what happened there. We can try to bring it back, but I want to keep you in the loop here. It looks like Brandon Feeney gets underneath that 26 as well, and challenging him for what is now the fourth position. The third position, I should say. Ludwig is hanging on to it. Rob Naismith is gone. He's gone in the distance. And David Rockwood has got a good solid lead here. So Brandon Feeney picks up that third spot. Oh, the 26 gets it wrong once again, gets up high, scrapes the wall, and pretty much loses out to all of them. Nagy has passed him, Queering has passed him, and Brandon Feeney picks up the third position. Rockwood still solidly in the lead. It doesn't look like Naismith is gaining very much on him. Brandon Feeney is about a little over a second further back, and Tom Queering is hanging on to Feeney's rear end fairly good. Nagy is is about the same distance behind Queering, and then Ludwig looks like he found back what he lost and is hanging on to Nagy's rear end there. But that was a little unfortunate for him. He got it wrong twice and scraped the wall and lost pretty much 5-6 positions. Now he's going to put back some pressure on Nagy. Gets it underneath. But that high line, that middle line, that seems to work fairly well, although Nagy looks a little loose coming off the turn. And we saw what happened to Sherman's when that happened to Sherman's. It pretty much created havoc. There's not much room for slipping and sliding when you're side by side. The 26 gets that 6th position back, it looks like. One more lap to go. Let's bring her back up to the front here. David Rockwood is going to bring this consolation race on his name here. First position. Rob Naismith picks up second. Feeney is going to bring it home in third. Queering is fourth. Ludwig has picked up that 5th position from Carson Nagy, and it looks like Sherman's brought it home in that final position. And let's bring up those results for you for the consolation race. David Rockwood, Rob Naismith, Brandon Feeney, Tom Queering, Ernie Ludwig, Carson Nagy, Patrick Shermans, Neil Schneider, Brent Just. That's your order for the consolation race. We're going to go into 5 minutes of open practice, warm-up as we call it, for all the guys, a chance to reset their mindset and to get some laps in, find out where the grip is, and get themselves pumped up and ready to go for the 100-lap feature. And it looks like pretty much all of them are eager to get out there and put some lap times down. Ray Murnau puts the quickest lap here at a 16.58. Kelly Admiral right up there with him. Jordan Dalsgaard, Sam Howlett, Cal Steckley. And there you have the 53 coming out. That's Jeremy Brooks. And with that, I'm going to jump aside just really quickly here, and I'll be right back. Kyle Stackley is back out there on track. I thought he was going to practice entering the pit, but he didn't. He's practicing leaving the pits a lot more than he's practicing exiting the pits. And it looked like the 93 of Schneider was getting in trouble there. Where are you at? There you are. I wonder if the drivers are thrown off by that, because it looked like he missed his pit. I wonder if they're just thrown off by the entry of the pit lane in turn 2, because then you're running alongside the backstretch on the other pit lane where nobody is actually having a pit right now, because there's not enough drivers to fill all those spots. But I can see that it catches them off guard a little bit. All right, so let's check on our track temperature and weather. It looks like the ambient temperature is still at about 76. The humidity seems to have risen. We have a clear sky, still no wind. The track temperature is down a little bit, I believe, to 79 degrees. So that is a good thing for them. The hotter the track, the more slippery it gets. So that helps the drivers a little bit. It's just 5 minutes to warm up, and it should be just enough to just get yourself back in that mindset once again. Remember, the guys that ran the heats, that ran the second heat or the first heat, they've been sitting through some of that stuff, so it's good for them to just be able to pick up that wheel and get back on it, to figure out where the grip is, and get yourself mentally prepared for what's coming. And if this practice is any indication, we're going to see some good battles. And it looks like this street stock car, sometimes it's a little loose coming off those turns if you're not careful. So we see Steckley going back down there again. And Kevin Dick going underneath here. The 93 of Schneider coming out. And right here at that spot where they're coming off the turn side by side, if either one of them gets loose and gets a little wiggle in there, that just spells disaster. There's just not very much room for error around here. All right, that's your warm-up, folks. Let's get ready for this race by showing you the grid. And on pole position, we have none other than Thomas McGregor. See if we can find him already. There he is. And alongside him will be the 03 of Ray Renault. Then it'll be Kevin Dick and Kyle Steckley on the second row. It's going to be the third row with Colton Evernham and Jeremy Brooks. Brendan Forsyth and Jordan Dalsgaard on the fourth row. Then it's Sam Howlett and Kelly Admiral on the fifth row. David Rockwood, Rob Naismith on the sixth row. And then we have on the seventh row Brandon Feeney and Tom Quiring. On the eighth row it's Ernie Ludwig and Carson Nagy. And on the ninth row it's Patrick Shermans and Neil Schneider. And that is our starting grid for tonight's feature race. 100 laps. Yellow laps will count in the feature race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And they're all lined up nicely. Still trying to get some heat in the tires back here. We know how that ended for this man. Ludwig eager to go here in the back. The 093 of Carson Nagy, Patrick Shermans, and Neil Schneider in the back end there. Well, he's got 100 laps ahead of him. He can still make something happen. It's pole sitter Thomas McGregor in the 75 with the 03 on top of him. And they're going to be waiting for the radio call. There we go. It's Thomas McGregor and Ray Murnau side by side alongside each other coming into turn one. And right behind them is Kevin Dick and Kyle Steckley. It looks like the 48 of Colton Evernham is getting underneath Steckley. And side by side coming off that turn here. Ooh, Steckley almost gets it wrong there. The 75 of McGregor is hanging on to that lead, and it looks like Kevin Dick is getting underneath Ray Murnau in the 03. No, slots in behind him now. It's Thomas McGregor, Ray Murnau, Kevin Dick. It's Kyle Steckley in the 4th spot coming underneath Kevin Dick here. Looks like he's going to challenge him for that 3rd position here. Side by side on the backstretch, Kevin Dick has the advantage now. It looks like that middle line on that track is working good enough for Dick to keep it ahead of Kyle Steckley. Colton Evernham seems to be dropping back a little bit, and then it's Jeremy Brooks in the 53. Let's get back to your leaders here. It's Ray Murnau in the 2nd position, right behind the 75 of Thomas McGregor. Oh, and he gets it. Oh, he saves it. That is good driving. He gets 2 wheels on that, and then it goes all wrong in the next turn. Oh my gosh. He saved it beautiful before, and then he gets it all wrong in the next turn. That is so unfortunate. Thomas McGregor benefits from that. He gets a good gain on the next guys, and that's Kevin Dick with Kyle Steckley battling for 2nd position now. Ooh, and for some reason, that is the biggest net code I have ever seen. Because take a look at this. Steckley and Kevin Dick are fairly close together. It looks like Steckley's car blinks, and when it comes back in, iRacing seems to think that Steckley was hitting the 10, because I cannot imagine Kevin Dick getting that kind of a snap oversteer in the middle of the turn. That is really unfortunate for Kevin Dick. There you have him sitting in the pits. We are under yellow now. Thomas McGregor still in the lead. That is really unfortunate. We can try to bring that back for you one more time if it goes back that far. There they are, side by side. Watch the green car blinking. That's a connection issue. There you have it. And then when he comes back, it causes snap oversteer in the 10 car, and that tells me that netcode, which basically means that iRacing is expecting them to hit, but they don't really hit, and sometimes you just get caught out by that. But that is the weirdest I've ever seen. I cannot imagine Kevin Dick having snap oversteer in the middle of the turn at that point. So that means that we need to check. It looks like Ray Murnau decides to go into the pit to get that fast repair. That's good thinking. And let me see where Kyle Steckley is. Kyle Steckley is still out there, but he also got in trouble with it, and he is in the back of the pack. Murnau in the pit getting that car fixed. And I'm not sure if Kevin's coming back out. He should have that fast repair, but he might be waiting on the tow. And I'm sure the tow is fairly long because of that long pit lane configuration that we have here. And even Ray Murnau is still there. Does that fast repair not want to work? Oh, I'm not sure what's going on here. Yeah, it looks like Ray Murnau is back out. He's on his way. And is that car fixed? I'm not even sure that car is completely fixed. Yeah, it is. Yes, that car is fine. So Kevin Dick is sitting in the pits, and I'm kind of worried that he's not coming back out. That's unfortunate because he's doing very well in the series standings. So an 18th position here, that's going to hurt him. Thomas McGregor on the pole with alongside Colton Evernham. And there we go. It's Thomas McGregor that hits the gas. Colton Evernham slots in the second position, and it's Jeremy Brooks in the 53 slotting in the third. Cali Admiral in fourth now. Jordan Dalsgaard in front of a bunch of guys here trying to defend his fifth position. Then it's Brendan Forsyth. Carson Nagy. Ooh, looks like Carson got a little bit sideways there. Sam Howlett is in the 69 car, and then it's Tom Queering in ninth and Neil Schneider in 10th, and he's got the 38 to worry about. I do see some other cars blinking here and there. Thomas McGregor in the lead still, and it looks like Jeremy Brooks is... Oh, he was getting underneath. He was getting underneath Colton Evernham there and got him sideways. We are back under yellow. Let's bring that back for you really quickly. It's the 53 right behind Evernham. Taps him on that quarter panel there, and he saves it from going into the wall, but we are still going yellow, and it could be something else going on. I'm not really sure. No, don't believe so. It's good for the 17 because he gets past. So, once again, under yellow, and it's McGregor that's hanging on to that lead. It's now Jeremy Brooks in the second position, and it is Kelly Admiral in third. Jordan Dalsgaard picked up that spot from the 48, sliding around. Colton Evernham, and he's in fifth, and then Brendan Forsyth is in 28, in sixth. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. Carson Nagy in the 093. Tom Queering in the 46 there on the inside there. Then the movie car, and it looks like the 90 is getting waved around. That's David Rockwood. He gets the wave around, so he gets to go past the pace car and line it up at the end of the field. And if he had a lap down he will get it back this way. Neil Schneider in the 93 is in the 10th position. Then it's Brendan Feeney. Rob Naismith in the 71. Ernie Ludwig has gained up quite a few spots. 2 spots since the start. And it's Kyle Steckley in the 24 car. Running in the 14th position. Then it's Rockwood and Shermans. And it looks like Ray Renault is back in the pit. He's coming out again. And I have no idea why he would do that, because I think they should be able to make it on fuel. And it looks like Kevin has called it a night. And there's Tom Queering, Sam Howlett, Smokey, and the Bandit. I'm not sure if he's Smokey or the Bandit. Neil Schneider in a 93, Brandon Feeney, Sherman's in the 27, and Ray Renault at the end of the line here, and David Rockwood in the 17th position. And it looks like we're lining them back up. The lights should be going out as we pass the flag stand. There we go. We're getting ready to go back to racing. I will say McGregor's been doing good coming off that fourth turn at the green flag. He's had some practice now, and now it's Jeremy Brooks alongside him. So we'll see how he does. And the pace car is going to come down. And Jeremy waits quite long before getting on the gas. Side by side with Jeremy Brooks towards turn 1. It looks like the 53 just has to slot in behind the 75 there. It's Kelly Admiral in third. Then it's Colton Evernham picking up one position already. It looks like the 17 of Jordan Dalsgaard falls victim to him. The 093 is on his inside now. and takes another spot away from the 17. Then it's Neil Schneider getting underneath Brendan Forsyth, picking up the 7th spot. Let's bring her back up here, because the 53 is hanging with the leader here, but it's Kelly Admiral pushing right behind the 53. He wants more. He wants part of this. And the 17 of Dalsgaard looks like he's fighting back on the 093. Can't quite get underneath here. And Kelly Admiral now getting underneath the 53 into turn. What is it, 3? No, that was turn 2, sorry. And he picks up 2nd position from Jeremy Brooks, who runs a little bit wide on that entry there. And that's because the yellow flag was already thrown. It's kind of too bad that I don't hear that radio. The problem here is what looks to me like the 93 of Neil Schneider. Let's bring back and see what happens. It's the 93 getting sideways, and the 38 hitting him pretty much head on, not being able to get around it. I'm going to bring that back a little bit further and see what leads up to this. The 93 is high coming towards the turn. The 46 was trying to get underneath him but didn't quite get there yet. And then on to the next turn. It looks like he touches the 17 and gets himself in trouble doing that. And then Murnau barely misses him, touches the wall. Murnau is not having a lucky night, that's for sure. Murnau is back in the pit once again. No more fast repairs. And here you see how that works. The pit lane is extended between turn 3 and 4. Then Murnau has to stay on that pit limiter, on that pit limit speed, I should say. We don't have a limiter. So it's a long ways around the track when you're going down pit road. What can they do for him in the pit lane? There is no ability for tires. I don't believe there's any need for fuel, so it should be just about damage, and that's hard for us to tell. iRacing basically just calculates that on what has to be done, and then it'll let him go when they feel it's ready. There's a difference in damage repairs, of required damage repairs, that stuff that's essential, that has to be done. And then there's also a suggested damage repair that you can take, but you don't have to. You don't have to wait on that. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility. Obviously, if you opt not to repair that optional repair advice, then obviously your car is going to be in worse shape than it should be, maybe. But that's the choices you can make in the pit as a driver in iRacing. Kelly Admiral picks up that 2nd spot with everything that's been going on here. He got underneath that 53. Jeremy Brooks is the 3rd place driver. Then it's Colton Evernham. He's hanging on to that 4th spot. Carson Nagy in the 093 is 5th, and then it's Jordan Dalsgaard hanging on to 6th. It looks like he's doing all right. Had a little bit of trouble in the beginning there, and it looks like they're lining them up again, so we're getting ready to roll. And let's check on querying right here. Then it's Rob Naismith, and it looks like Steckley is already back up to 9th, so that's not going bad. Sam Howlett there. And the 26 of Ludwig, and Murnau is back out. Ooh, and the 48 is a little too eager to go and taps that purple car on the back twice. Thomas McGregor and the Kelly Admiral side by side towards turn 1. The 53 getting underneath the 8 in turn 2. And it looks like McGregor has that lead solidly in hand. The 8 has to be careful for what the 53 is going to be doing. And the 48 of Colton Evernham is eager to mix himself in there. And it looks like Kelly hangs on to that 2nd spot now. Ooh, the 53 getting a little loose. Evernham having a little... Ooh, we have another yellow. Ooh, and that looks like a pretty bad one, too. Who is that? David Rockwood. Let's go back a little bit further and see what happens to him. The number 90 car of David Rockwood. What happens to him? Ooh, he gets a little wiggly coming off the turn, taps the 46, runs into the wall. The 26 gets collected. Oh, that is bad. That is bad. And he basically brings it onto himself, I think. If you look at the black car in the middle of your screen, the number 90 gets a little wiggly and sideways, overcorrects, taps the 46, and then completely off balance, collects the 26, collects the 27, although that didn't seem too bad, rolls it over a couple times. It's kind of like a bouncing ball then, and lands on all fours, but that was pretty much all she wrote. And let's see if he has gone to the pits. If we go back live, we should see him in the pits. He's probably taken a tow, and he should be able to get that fast repair. McGregor is still out in front, and it doesn't bother him that much. The 38 gets the wave around. The 8 of Kelly Admiral is in second. Then it's Jeremy Brooks still in third. Colton Evernham still in fourth. And then Carson Nagy. And I will say Colton Evernham seemed to be fairly aggressive there on that restart. He wants a part of that fight for the lead, it looks like. So behind Nagy, it's Dalsgaard in the 17, Steckley in 7th. It looks like Steckley is working his way back through the field, but being hindered, obviously, by the fact that we're not racing under green all the time. And that kind of stops his progress. Then it's Queering into 46. It's Naismith in the 71. It's Howlett. And we have Brandon Feeney taking a pit stop. And he damaged his car pretty bad. That front end looks pretty bad. And then Ludwig is going by him. He did not stop. But Feeney is on his way to his pit stall. There you go. Murnau, he has pitted on lap 31. And he's not free of damage, but it doesn't look too bad. I think he can handle that. And he catches the back of the pack here. And it looks like, who's that there with the nose gone? Let's go to Murnau here. That is Kevin Dick. Ooh, Kevin Dick's back out. And that's taken him a while. He's 19 laps down, but he's back in the race. And there hasn't been much work done on that car either. So that's kind of weird. It took him quite some time to decide to get back in that car. But he's probably thinking points as well. I mean, he's doing really well in the standings, and an 18th position in a race like this, that's going to hurt him. So anything he can pick back up, he's been looking maybe and seeing, well, there's plenty of trouble going around, so I might as well give it my best shot. All right, we're going back to racing here when the 75 hits the throttle. There he goes. Kelly Admiral hangs with him. The 53 coming underneath the 8 already. And it looks like Jeremy Brooks picks up that second position from Admiral. And then it's Colton Evernham also getting underneath the purple car. And Kelly makes that middle line work fairly good. He's he's holding on, but the 48 is still on his inside. Now he runs a little bit wide. It looks like Colton gets ahead of him now. Oh, and Colton gets on that apron and gets in trouble and collects the 8. Oh, my goodness. And it's one thing to get yourself in trouble, but it's another thing if you take 2 or 3 other cars with you. He's fighting hard for position, I get that. I mean, I like racing for position too, but he gets the 2 wheels on the apron, gets off balance, and then collects the 8, and the 8 in his turn collects several other cars. Let's look at it from his perspective here, a little bit further back. There you see the 48 getting all wiggly, puts the 8 in the wall. The 24 is collected. The 93 is collected. The 38 is collected. The 20. It's just a major mess. So yeah, once again, I mean, if you look at what the 48 causes here, you know, that's I don't know. Like I said, it's one thing to get yourself in trouble. It's another thing if you take 5, 6 cars with you. That's just I think that's a bit of a problem. All right, let's bring her back up to the front here. We still have Thomas McGregor hanging on to that lead. We're on lap 39. We haven't done a whole lot of green flag racing, but Thomas McGregor's hanging on to that spot. It's Jeremy Brooks now in the second position. Jordan Dalsgaard finds himself in third now, and I don't believe he expected that to happen. Tom Quering finds himself in fourth position now. Rob Naismith in fifth. Brandon Forsyth, he is in sixth, and it looks like his car has had a beating as well. Kyle Steckley is still in seventh, and he's not having a lucky night either. Patrick Shermans, I can tell you, he's not feeling all that lucky tonight. Ernie Ludwig seems to have come out of this fairly unscathed. Let's close that up a little bit. Yeah, he looks like he's still all right. Then there's Colton Evernham. He's behind Kevin Dick, and Kevin Dick is several laps behind, still hanging in there. Not sure if Colton took to the pits, but his car doesn't even look all that bad. It's just a little banged up on that right front from... yeah, the right side is a little bit bent up, but it's not too bad. Then it's Carson Nagy in the 93. Ray Murnau not having his lucky night tonight. Sam Howlett is still running in that 96 car. Kelly Admiral coming out of the pits. It looks like he used his quick repair. He needed it. Brandon Feeney standing still in the pits. It looked like that car is still looking fairly good shape. And has he been standing there quite long? I'm not really sure. Schneider is in the pit. Not real sure. It looks like we're lining them up side by side once again. Lights on the pace car have gone out, so we're getting ready to go. And it looks like race control has put several drivers in the back end of that longest line there. Not entirely happy with what he's seen. Thomas McGregor hits the gas, and he takes the 53 a little bit by surprise this time. Jeremy Brooks was not as awake as the last time, and he loses 2 car lengths on that leader there. Jordan Dalsgaard is in third position with a gap between Brooks and him. Then it's Quering in fourth. Quering on the high side. The 71 gets low underneath him, and it looks like the 71 is trying to take that position from him. That's Rob Naismith. Ooh. The 46, another yellow. Let's go see, and it's Sherman's this time. Let's see what happened to him. Yeah, 3 wide is a little bit optimistic on a track like this, I would say. It's Kevin Dick in the middle, and it's the 48 of Colton Evernham. Kevin Dick really has no place to go when the 27 comes down, and he gets himself in trouble. And once again, Ray Murnau is involved. And let's bring it back from Colton Evernham's perspective here. Let's bring it back a little bit further, because I think the trouble starts here when Evernham is behind the 10. He bumps into the back end of the 10. The 10 goes to the middle. And then it's 3 wide into the turn, and the 27 just doesn't realize that there's 2 cars underneath him instead of 1. That's kind of what it looked like to me. So I'm not going to blame this one on the 48 at all. And don't get me wrong, it's not so much about assigning blame. It's racing, and stuff happens, but we do need to be respectful for the space of others because otherwise you don't do a whole lot of racing. Thomas McGregor is still benefiting from all of this. He's keeping his car clean. He's not abusing his tires. He gets a break. And the only thing that changes for him is whoever's in his mirror. And now that is Jeremy Brooks. And Jordan Dalsgaard has been able to hang on to that third spot. Queering is in fourth, Naismith is in fifth, and Steckley is now in the sixth spot. He must have passed Ernie Ludwig. And I will say that Ernie Ludwig's car is pretty much the only one that still looks pretty clean. He's been able to stay out of trouble. Brandon Forsythe has some damage. Colton Evernham is now shown in ninth, and right behind him is Carson Nagy. Sherman's is in 11th. Then it's Kelly Admiral. Ray Murnau is back into the pit, and I will say that car doesn't look too bad, so I hope for his sake that he gets back out. He does. Sam Howlett is shown in 14th. And Brandon Feeney is shown in 15th. It looks like the 27 gets the wave around. And let me see here. Kelly Admiral is shown in 13th. What's going on here is he's being brought back to the final, to the last spot of the longest line, it looks like. Not sure what he did wrong. Thomas McGregor is still in the lead. And the lights on the truck will be going out when we get by the flag stand here. There we go. And it'll be up to Jeremy Brooks to stay awake now because he knows he can get surprised by the moment Thomas McGregor decides to accelerate. Nicely lined up now. And we're waiting for the 75 to get going. There we go. And this time Jeremy Brooks does pay attention and he stays right alongside that 75. Obviously the 75's got the lower line in turn 1. The 53 slots in behind him. Jordan Dalsgaard hangs on to that third position, but it's Queering and Steckley fighting behind him. It looks like Queering runs a little high and Steckley gets underneath him to take that fourth position from him. Now it's the 17 running high, and in front it's the 75 of McGregor running high with the 53 underneath him, and it looks like Steckley is back up front already challenging the 75 for second position now. That is good work for Kyle Steckley. Now he's in second place running behind Jeremy Brooks. And Thomas McGregor, I'm not sure what happened to him, but he looks like that middle line, that higher side, is not working for him as well as it did for some of the others. And Tom Queering is trying to put pressure on the 75 as well. And meanwhile, it's Steckley. Ooh, we have another one. And it's Kevin Dick and the 38 getting in trouble together here. Let's bring back and see what happened. Where are they at? That's Kevin Dick there. Kevin Dick having a little trouble with the 48 and slows him down, and then the 38 just can't get it slowed down in that turn and taps the back end of the 10, and it looks like the 10 is not too happy with him. It's not Kevin Dick's night. That's for sure. And meanwhile, the 93 with a slightly redesigned front end is still running. And up front, it's Jeremy Brooks. That's now your new leader. It looked like he was very awake on the restart, challenged the 75 right away, and the 75 got caught out on that higher line, and it allowed Kyle Steckley to come alongside and pass him for second place as well. And it looks like the 69 is getting the wave around. That is Sam Howlett. Smokey and the Bandit car. If you haven't been on Trading Paints just yet as a new iRacing driver, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of creativity out there. There's some beautiful paint jobs that you can find for your cars once you get going on iRacing. And it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, Carson Nagy here in the 093. Midfield hanging on. Jordan Dalsgaard dropped back to 5th position there. Looked to me like he was also on that higher side, not being able to come down. And Ernie Ludwig still unscathed. I don't know how he does it. He's been in the pits once in lap 31. Don't remember what that was for. Monod is now in 10th. It's most certainly not his lucky day. Colton Evernham here in 11th. Kelly Admiral in 12th. Sherman's also in a slightly modified stock car. And then Sam Howlett now at the back of the pack as he had his wave around. The 93 goes around him. We're a little bit over halfway. Hey, Jeremy Brooks has a little connection issue as well. Luckily, it's not very persistent. And it looks like Kyle Stackley is also getting ready to get back to racing. I'm always amazed by guys that you know, they luck out in the beginning, they get thrown back to the end of the field, and they work their way up back steady, and once in a while they still get caught out in unlucky situations, but they don't give up. Kyle Stackley is one of those guys. Just doesn't give up, just keeps on going like nothing happened. I like that. All right. Back at it again. Looks like the 53 actually gives a little signal to the 24. Don't you even try. And he picks up that lead once again in turn 1. The 24 of Stackley runs in 3rd. Thomas McGregor is 3rd. And Queering is in 4th. Jordan Dalsgaard hangs on to that 5th position. It looks like Carson Nagy passes Rob Naismith for the 6th position. Still side by side. Ernie Ludwig and Brandon Forsyth side by side behind there. And it looks like the 093 gets in single file now. Ernie Ludwig still on the inside, side by side, alongside of Forsyth there. Ray Monod is coming with him. Ooh, where is he at? There's where he's at. He's hanging on there. And in front of him, it's Nagy and a 71. And a little bit further up there, it looks like the fight for the lead is heating up. Kyle Stackley has gone underneath the 53 of Jeremy Brooks. And it looks like Thomas McGregor wants to come along with him on that low side. And he's trying to stay with the 24 so that the 53 cannot come down and slot in between there. The 53 is running very strong on that middle line on the track there. And Thomas McGregor is having trouble staying with the 24. And if he's not careful, that 53 is going to slot right underneath him there. There you go. Ooh, once again, they touch going into the turn, and oh my gosh. That is quite a mess once again. Let's bring it back. Oops, I'm pushing the wrong button. Let's bring her back a little bit further. And it looks like the 53 is getting on that high side. He wants to come back down. Now he's coming back down. Not quite. That's over here. Here, this is where they go single file. And it looks like the 53 touches the 24, wants to back out, and then loses it when doing so, and collects the 75, the 17. Ludwig's car is not that clean anymore now. And Dalsgaard is getting caught out with this. It's a pretty big mess. Brooks has dropped down to the 9th position, goes into the pits. The 75 is smoking. That's a very bad sign. I hope for his sake that he still has that fast repair left, and I do think so, because this is his first pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. And like I said, it's a long way around. You pretty much have to do 80% of the lap on pit speed. Excuse me, because under yellow, that's not that big of a deal. It's still costly, though, because the whole field is running the exact same speed as you are. 53 into the pits, and a 75 into the pits. Yep, he has that fast repair, and he's right back out, so he's not spending too much time there. Let's take a look at Ludwig. He's in the pits. Well, he must have had that fast repair used already. Maybe he's still waiting on the tow. That I cannot tell if they're waiting on a tow. Let's check on Kevin Dick here. Still running, but he's in 17th position now, and David Rockwood is out. So at least he's not in the 18th position anymore. And up front, it's Kyle Steckley in the 24. And let's take a look at that machine. The left front is a little bit banged up from earlier trouble. It's not too bad. Rob Naismith is still running. He's still in second. He's not still in second. He is now in second. Carson Nagy now in third. And guess who's back in fourth? That's Ray Murnau. And he's had his fair share of trouble at this race already. But he lucked out on this last big one, it looks like. He's now in 4th position. And Colton Evernham in the 48 is in 5th now, so he's making up some ground that he lost earlier with incidents. Kelly Admiral is in 6th, so he's doing all right. Jordan Dalsgaard dropped back, and it doesn't look like he had that car repaired. He does still have his fast repair. And it looks like the 28 is getting coming out of the pits and will be able to catch up to the back end of the pack. Howlett in the Smokey and the Bandit car. Then it's Thomas McGregor. He's out in a fresh car with a fresh paint job, and so is the 53. So, ready to go back to racing. There goes your truck. It's Steckley right away. No waiting, no nothing. Up in arms right away. And he picks up that lead, and it's Carson Nagy coming along with him. He was paying attention, and he's now in 2nd position. Colton Evernham in 3rd. Ray Murnau in 4th. And the 71 of Naismith got caught out here and drops back to 5th position. And Kelly Admiral is right there with him on the inside. And it looks like he's challenging him for that 5th position. Still underneath him. That middle line does work well for the 71. Ooh, watch out, guys. Give each other a little bit of room to work. The 8 is now picking up that 5th position from Naismith. Let's go back up to the front and check on Kyle Steckley. He's still in the lead. He's got Carson Nagy right behind him. Colton Evernham, couple of car lengths back with Ray Murnau right there. And I will say that is good for Ray Murnau because coming back from way back, just like Steckley, and those guys just keep on going. They don't give up. I like that. Carson Nagy in 2nd position, right behind Steckley, I'm sorry, and it's Evernham right behind him with a couple of car lengths in between. Ray Murnau is already challenging him, trying to push that 03 underneath. Kelly Admiral has passed Rob Naismith, and then it's Jeremy Brooks already back up to the 7th spot, and Thomas McGregor already back up to that 9th spot. And there we have Carson Nagy challenging Steckley for the lead, going side by side. The 93 on the bottom there. Ooh, Steckley running fairly high there. I don't believe he intended to do that. Ray Murnau is right there with him. And Colton Evernham is caught up with him as well. It looks like Steckley may have had a little issue because everybody's catching up to him. And now Steckley goes back underneath. Can he get that lead back? The 093 runs a little high. He still has the lead. Stackley keeps the car on the low side. The 093 keeps that car on the high side, and it works for him. Still side by side. Nagy goes across the line first. We're talking lap 78 right now. We're getting close to the finish, and you can tell those guys are getting a little bit more aggressive for that fight for the lead. Stackley is not giving up. And it looks like Nagy has got a good car on that high side. It looks like Evernham has caught up with these guys. And Kelly Admiral has passed Ray Murnau for the 4th position, or at least they're still fighting for it. So let's check back up here. Carson Nagy and now Colton Evernham is getting to interfere in this battle for the lead as well. Kelly Admiral and Murnau side by side together, and they're catching up. And then it's the 71 of Naismith and Jeremy Brooks, the 53. They are catching up. So it looks like tires are becoming a factor right now. Carson Nagy, ooh, Kelly Admiral running a little bit offline there. Yeah, he's hanging on to that car though. The 03 of Ray Murnau right in front of him. And it looks like tires are an issue right now. The guys that have been in a lot of trouble may be feeling those tires slipping away from them. Colton Evernham is probably one of them, but he's hanging on for dear life. Carson Nagy still in the lead, but Stackley now on the high side. It looked like Nagy was a little bit on that apron there, getting that car off balance. He hangs on to the lead. The 24 is he's having trouble staying low, it looks to me. Maybe he's doing it by choice, I don't know, but it's Colton Evernham threatening him on the lower side. So I'm not sure if that's where he wants to be, or if that's where he just has to be because he can't keep it low. Good fight for the lead here. Ray Murnau in 4th, and he's hanging with him as well. Kelly Admiral still challenging Murnau. Getting underneath now, but Murnau is running the same line as Stackley, and that seems to work for him a little bit better. Now we're getting into the back markers. The 93 of Schneider stays high, gives the leaders room to race. Then we're going to get by Jordan Dalsgaard in the 17 car. And it looks like Nagy and Stackley are right there together, fighting for that lead. Stackley coming back underneath, lap 86. He can't make it work just yet. Nagy's got a good car. Stackley, Evernham, Ray Murnau, and Kelly Admiral still not past Ray Murnau, but he's not for lack of trying. The 53 of Jeremy Brooks is catching up with him as well, and he's got a fresh bodywork on that car. 75 of Thomas McGregor coming with the 53. Carson Nagy's got a little bit of distance on Kyle Stackley now. Kyle Stackley is clearly losing out a little bit, and that could be the tires. Colton Evernham also having a little bit of trouble hanging with Stackley. It's Ray Murnau, and he's defending hard against the hard-charging 8 car. That's Kelly Admiral. And it looks like Jeremy Brooks is catching up with these guys. And a 75 of McGregor right there with him. They were in the lead earlier, as you recall. Both of them held the lead for a little bit. And now it looks like Admiral's getting underneath Murnau here. Carson Nagy still quite a bit clear of Stackley in the front. Evernham following, Stackley also a little bit behind. And then it's these guys. Ray Murnau in the orange car, Kelly Admiral in the purple car, then it's Jeremy Brooks in the blue and white, and it's Thomas McGregor in the black car. And this is all for position. Lap 91, we have 10 laps to go. Let's check on your leader. Nagy, it looks like Stackley caught back up with him. Getting on that apron again. It's Nagy trying to close the door on him. That gives him a couple of car lengths again. Ooh, and it looks like the 24 is really good off the turn there. Picks up the lead. Kyle Stackley picks up the lead from Carson Nagy on the outside. And it looks like he's got him where he wants him now. Nagy in second, Evernham in third. Ray Murnau is hanging on to 4th with Kelly Admiral charging hard. It looks like McGregor has passed Jeremy Brooks, and he's now getting on the high side of Admiral. Lap 94. It looks like Admiral is having trouble with tires now because the 75 of McGregor is coming above him, tugging in behind Murnau. Let's check on Kyle. Kyle is clear of Carson Nagy, it looks like. And then it's Colton Evernham in third. Colton Evernham looks like that car is not doing exactly what he wants it to do. That could be a suspension issue, but it doesn't stop him from attacking Nagy for a second position. And right there, it's Murnau still hanging on to fourth with Kelly Admiral alongside, Thomas McGregor behind him, and Jeremy Brooks. And they're catching up to Nagy and Evernham. Evernham has now got that second position. Nagy dropped back to third. It looks like tires are becoming an issue for these guys. We're going into lap 97, 4 laps to go. Kyle Stackley is clear by about 0.6 of a second. Then it's Colton Evernham. Carson Nagy now under threat from Ray Murnau. Ray Murnau under threat. Ooh, and it looks like McGregor has passed Kelly Admiral on the outside, and Jeremy Brooks is trying to do the same thing. We have some good green flag racing here at the end of the race. The 53 coming underneath. Ooh, be careful on that apron. He gets underneath the 75. Kyle Stackley still in front. Lap 99, 2 more laps to go. Colton Evernham in second, Carson Nagy in third, Ray Murnau and Kelly Admiral fighting, and they're coming along. Oh, and there it goes wrong. There it goes wrong. Are we going yellow? No, we're not yellow just yet. White flag is out. Kyle Stackley in the lead. What a race. He came from way back. Colton Evernham in second. Ray Murnau picks up third position with the trouble that was happening to Nagy. Thomas McGregor picks up fourth. Admiral is in fifth. Tom Queering gets by. He picks up the sixth position. Unbelievable. What a finish. What a finish. That is your winner right here while the fireworks are going off in the background. Kyle Stackley picks up that win from Colton Evernham, Ray Murnau, Thomas McGregor, Kelly Admiral. Tom Queering ends in sixth position. Carson Nagy dropped to ninth. Jeremy Brooks to seventh. And Dalsgaard in 10th. Let's take a look at your leader here. I'm sure he's burning some rubber right there. He deserves it. He drove a very, very good race. Not very lucky in the beginning. Got into some trouble. Not all because of his own doing, and he brings it back here in the victory circle. Maybe running some donuts needs a little bit of practice, but well, it's all good. He drove a great race, and he brings it back in the first position. It's Colin Evernham in the second spot, and Ray Murnau also a very unlucky night here in the beginning, but he hang on, and those guys just don't quit, and they do a great job bringing it home, and they keep on going, and there you go, your feature results. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Stackley, a beautiful win, 0.2 of a second ahead of Colton Evernham. Evernham had his moments as well, and I don't want to sound like I blamed him for something, but there was one point where I thought that was preventable. But okay, it is what it is. He drove a great race after that. He fought back to the front and challenged for the lead once again. Colton Evernham brings it home in a beautiful second position. Ray Murnau, same thing as Stackley, not very lucky in the beginning, involved in several incidents as a victim. Kept on going with a damaged car and brings it home in the third spot. Thomas McGregor brings it home in fourth. He was your early leader. Kelly Admiral was strong up there in the top 5 pretty much all race long, had his moments as well. Had to come back from the rear end as well. Kelly Admiral in fifth position. Then it's Tom Queering, who had a fairly, let's say, laid-back outing here. He just kept on doing what he does, run his laps, and it ultimately brings him a sixth position. That's a pretty good finish for sure. Jeremy Brooks was in the lead for a while as well, and then at the end there, got a little bit in trouble, got sideways, and he dropped back to seventh. It's Sam Howlett in eighth in the 69 car. Then it's Carson Nagy in ninth. And he got together with Brooks there. They were going all 3 wide, it looked like, and it didn't work. So Jeremy Brooks and Carson Nagy dropped back a little bit there at the finish. And then finally in 10th place we have Jordan Dalsgaard. Strong outing for him. And then further down the order it's Naismith, Feeney, Forsyth, Schurmans, Ludwig Schneider, Kevin Dick brings it home in 17th position, 47 laps down. He was spent a long time in the pits. I'm not sure if that was by choice or not. Ultimately, he decided to try and pick up some points. Didn't work out the way he had hoped. It was not his lucky night either. David Rockwood, 72 laps down in the 90 car. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for your Bristol race here with the Saskatchewan Stock Car Championship. Next week, we are going back to dirt on the Eldora track, and that'll be same time on Sunday night, different place, Eldora Dirt Racing. So we hope to see you there for the 8th round in the Saskatchewan Stock Car Championship. It's a fun championship. There's some good fun racing going on the short tracks for sure. And we do have some yellows here and there every once in a while, but hey, that's just part of stock car racing on short tracks. So we'll take it, and we'll take the bad with the good. It's still fun to watch. I think there's some good drivers in this series, like, for instance, Kyle Stackley and Ray Murnau, that just keep on going without looking back and without giving up, and I like that a lot. So I hope you do too. We will see you next week in Eldora for dirt racing, the 8th round in the Saskatchewan Stock Car Championship. Hope to see you there. This is Short Shift Broadcasting. My name is Mark. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.